A very warm welcome and thanks for clicking on to the 68th edition of the Global Weather and Climate Report. It is Sunday and it is a time to look at the global picture and see what has been taking place over the last 7 days. Lots of things to cover here on the channel, but before we get into it, be sure to like, share and subscribe. We are going to be busy today, and the release date of the winter 2023-24 forecast for winter is the Thursday, the 30th of November. So be sure to check that out coming up. Put it in your diaries, and it will certainly be a very interesting winter forecast coming up. I think there might be a couple of surprises in there with regards to the overall ideas that I have, but we will be looking at the latest with regards to the Indian Ocean dipole. Firmly positive, of course. It is going to be weakening in the coming weeks ahead, and we'll see if that is going to have any kind of implications. The El Nino, of course, has been the big talking point, and it looks as if it has been increasing the global temperature as you would expect. What implications is that going to have? We also have somewhat more of a North Atlantic tripole now of warm, cold, warm. That sometimes can correlate to a negative NAO pattern. And of course, other aspects to consider as well. So that will be coming up in the next couple of weeks with the release of the official winter 2023-24 forecast. Starting off with October's temperature globally, it was the warmest on record. No real surprise here. I know there is conflicting reports out there with regards to data being fudged, tweaked, misinterpreted, etc., etc., etc. But there's no denying the fact that it was the warmest October on record, and I have to emphasize that point, on record, because we know that records are rather short-lived. There is a very, very long past, long before humans were recording climate, weather, whatever. And my stance with regards to climate change. I think there's a lot more to it than just carbon dioxide. That is my own opinion. And of course, we're entitled to our own opinion. But this is information here brought by Maximiliano Herrera. Very often look at his information stats. Second to none. He is truly fantastic at what he does and delivers free information, of course, via Twitter. Highly recommend following him if you don't already. But he said, this was back a couple of weeks ago on the 15th of October. In fact, a few days ago, not a couple of weeks ago. I'm ahead of myself. But October 2023 globally, according to NASA, and I know everybody's got their opinion with regards to NASA and information, but had temperature anomaly of plus 0.72 Celsius versus the 91 to 2020 average. It was 1.34 Celsius above the 51 to 1980 average, and by far the warmest October on record, 0.25 Celsius above October 2015 here, which was the previous warmest on record. Now let's have a look and see what the CTAS data 0.5 is indicating here for the month of November through Sunday, the 19th of November. And you can see here that we've got a lot of warmth once again across the planet here. So we continue with this very, very warm theme, likely driven by the warm global temperature, sea surface temperature anomalies as well here. But the standout cold areas is Quebec at the moment, northern UK, interesting enough, northern China, Mongolia, the far southern fringes of Siberia, but of course we've got a sea of warmth anywhere from the Middle East and across the majority of Eurasia, really, if we're being honest here. Very warm through the Mediterranean, northern Africa, much of Europe. The standout here is the cold and average across Norway, Sweden and Finland here. We're driving a very cold theme through the month of November so far. We've got that southwest corner of China. Very strange in a sense how that is just continuing to linger. Let me know in the comment section below if you know anything about that cold area in southwestern portions of China. Why has that been lingering through the majority of this year? Today, warmer than average across the majority, if not all of Australia, with the exceptions of perhaps the south coast, as you can see here. Argentina has, and southern portions, central and southern portions of Chile, is seeing quite a cold November. But look at the heat across the majority of the rest of South America. We've had some exceptional conditions, record-breaking hot temperatures, not just for the month of November, but the last couple of months as well. Across parts of Brazil, we're fighting a particularly severe weather situation at the moment, where we've got extreme drought in areas of the country, especially central and northern Brazil, where we've got very exceptional rainfall across southern portions of Brazil here at the moment. So we're seeing quite an extreme contrast across this very large country of South America at this moment in time. But we're also seeing record hot days, record hot nights, and records continuing to fall with regards to that. Notice here that the majority of North America is warmer than average. The majority of Greenland is warmer than average at the moment here. But one standout interesting area is actually Alaska, where Anchorage has had its snowiest November on record, which is quite interesting given how warm the month of November has been over this part of the world here. The majority of Canada is warmer than average, as you can see here. Parts of equatorial Africa, eastern portions of Africa is cooler than average. Now, we've also seen extreme rainfall in parts of Somalia and Kenya. You've seen the images. We'll hopefully have time to look at that in today's video. But it's a classic footprint of that positive IOD, or Indian Ocean dipole. So the cold waters in the eastern portion of the Indian Ocean basin versus the warm western Indian Ocean basin. So of course that supports drought and heat across Australia, up into Indonesia, where we've got cooler conditions but also exceptional rainfall in the western side of the Indian Ocean and eastern Africa. Another caveat to that is that we've got a phase 1 Madden-Julian oscillation at the moment. That promotes the upward motion, the favourable phase of the Madden-Julian oscillation at the moment, or the active phase, is over parts of Africa and the western side of the Indian Ocean at the moment as well. So that's enhancing the rainfall potential over this region of the world at the moment, whereas, of course, the suppressed phase of the Madden-Julian oscillation is over the maritime continent at the moment. So we're seeing quite an interesting relationship now between ocean and atmosphere, both with the IOD and indeed the El Nino situation as well. Interesting tweet here by Tomoki Suzuki here, meteorologist based in Tokyo, Japan. Fukuoka, I think that's the right pronunciation, in western portions of Honshu, has received its earliest trace of snow in 40 years. Yesterday, 18th November, a trace of snow was observed in Fukuoka, and this is the earliest trace of snow in 40 years since the winter of 1984. In fact, that was the year that I was born. And very interesting stuff indeed here, given the fact that just a mere 10 to 14 days ago, many parts of Japan was recording its hottest November day on record. I, in fact, as I've already mentioned on the channel, arrived on Tuesday the 6th of November, and that was in fact the hottest, or Tuesday the 7th of November actually, because it was the following day that we arrived. And that, in fact, turned out to be Tokyo's hottest November day in recorded history, which I thought was quite fascinating, actually, to be there on the very day that it broke a record of 27.5 Celsius. Skipping north over the North Pacific to Anchorage, Alaska, and here we go. November snowfall at Anchorage, record-breaking for November 2023. 39.1 inches of snow so far, according to the Anchorage National Weather Service. and that breaks the previous record of November 94, which was 38.8 inches of snowfall here. So quite an interesting month for the Anchorage area of Alaska, given the fact, like I said, the state overall has seen a very, very warm month to date. Skipping south to the opposite end of the continent, and Fort Lauderdale is now the wettest city in the US, with over 108 inches of rain recorded so far this year. This is the most yearly rainfall ever recorded in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Only remote areas of Hawaii have recorded more rainfall in 2023 so far. An interesting tweet there, that's for sure. Also here, this is Rio do Sol. This is in Brazil, and this was some remarkable scenes here of this region that has recorded some epic amounts of rainfall in recent times. Devastating flooding in parts of southern Brazil, despite the fact that we've got drought, record heat both by day and night in other parts of the country. And this is a direct consequence, of course, to El Nino here. So interesting tweets here coming out of Brazil. Very sad situation, of course, that's for sure also. Let's skip forward here. Interesting tweet here by Nahel Belgazier, I think. I don't know if that's the right pronunciation, but France has just went through its wettest 30-day period on record. This has been mentioned already here in the channel, but it's a big story here, given the fact that it was a very dry first half to October, record-breaking dry first half to October for the country of France. But the period between the 18th of October and the 16th of November has seen, on average, 237 millimeters or 9.3 inches of rainfall nationwide. That is astonishing. And, there has been no 30-day period in recorded history of France that has seen a wetter period than this aforementioned time frame here. So pretty remarkable stuff. Record-breaking flooding situation as well, of course. This is more about some of the interesting early snows affecting parts of Japan here. This is a tweet here by Sayaka, and you can see here some early snow reports, some records, November records being achieved in various parts of Japan. And of course, this comes on the heels of the some of the hottest temperatures ever recorded during the month of November here. Our friend David Birch showing the ice extent both north and south pole at the moment here. You can see here that we've got, of course, the extent of Antarctic sea ice at its maximum now as we move into the latter part of spring. And I think it's 15th lowest Arctic sea ice extent. So, there has been a lot of years, despite the amount of global warmth that we're seeing at the moment, it's, Arctic sea ice isn't doing particularly bad at the moment, I don't think, really. So more on South America. This is an interesting tweet here, also by extreme temperatures around the world. A world record here achieved for minimum highest temperature, 34.6 Celsius at one particular location in Paraguay. This beats again the record for the highest minimum temperature ever recorded in South America. No event in world climate history compares to what South America is living through. That is according to Maximiliano. And temperatures in Brazil, Paraguay, Bolivia, low to mid 40s by day in some places. Overnight temperatures into the low to even mid 30s, which is pretty remarkable stuff. But a counter argument to this here is this. This is an interesting tweet here by Dr. Ryan Maui. So he goes on to say that the heat and drought in Brazil going on right now is climatically similar to the devastating climate emergency of 1877-78, El Nino and strongly positive IOD, and also a warm Atlantic, a carbon copy of 150 years ago. So an interesting counter argument that, despite the extremes that we're seeing around the world at the moment, it's happened before, folks. And I want to emphasize that point. They get the balance here on marvelandweather.com and YouTube. So that's it for just now. Thanks for clicking on. I do appreciate it. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And I'll be back for a week's worth of weather content here in the channel. So stay tuned this upcoming work week. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Bye for now.